This is Kuldrin's Krypt, Season 1, Episode 6, for December 30th, 2016.
Welcome. Welcome to my dungeon.
Welcome to Kuldrin's Krypt. I'm your host, Master Kuldrin Fire. If you're new to the show, this is a place to dispel myths, get rid of stereotypes, and answer your questions about BDSM. You can call in at 865-268-4005 to leave your questions, or visit the Krypt at kuldrinskrypt.com. On this episode, we're going to respond to a listener's email, revisit the KNKI app, and answer the following questions about Dom and subspace and Dom and sub drop. What is it? Is it real? And is aftercare really all that important? As always, we'll start with the 3 rules to love by: safe, sane, consensual, and informed. KNKI, that's KNKI, straight from the KNKI app. You can get that on the Android or iPhone platforms. That stands for knowledge, no intolerance, kindness, and integrity. And the third one, submission is not about authority and it's not about obedience. It is all about relationships of love and respect. Wonderful words spoken by Mr. Paul Young. So on that KNKI code, with knowledge, no intolerance, kindness, and integrity. Several episodes ago, I believe it was the second or third one, when I was discussing what it is to be a dominant, I brought this up. And I had said that I deleted the app. I recently reinstalled it and started using it. I've met a lot of good people off of it here recently. It really is a good tool to help get into the BDSM community, along with, of course, the website FetLife, which is like the Facebook of BDSM, and going to munches. I recently went to a munch, I guess that was on Sunday, and met several really good people. There was a large group. I think there was somewhere between, 25 and 40. I know that's a pretty broad range, but there was a lot of people there, and I had a chance to talk with just about everybody there, and it was a really good time just sitting down with like-minded individuals and talking about everything from rope bondage. Shout out to Frog. She is a rigger that I'm really interested in getting to see her work live. I've seen some of her pictures, and she's just phenomenal. But with this KNKI app, it's something that at this point I will unofficially endorse because of their stance on abuse and helping to educate. They have something called an ambassador, I believe it's an ambassador program, that they're very selective with, and it's not really so much to even promote their app. It's to promote safe, sane, consensual, and informed. And to me, that's just the way it should be. So I really want to help them out because of what they stand for. So if you're looking for a good app, a way to meet some like-minded individuals, go ahead and check that out. And of course, go to fetlife.com, FETLIFE, and join that and look up groups. Just do a search there for your community or your local area, and you can come up with all kinds of groups, or do a search for your state as well. Moving on to the question that I got from an email, or from a listener through an email, and I don't have it printed out, so I'm just going to quote this as simply as I can, which was, why is it that I always refer to other websites when I'm going over things? And I really appreciate you asking me that question. And I further appreciate your tone with the question because it wasn't asked in a snide way. They also commented that they appreciated the fact that I put it in the show notes. You know, it's something that I try to do with everything is make sure I get it in there. But to answer the question, basically it's why reinvent the wheel? The information is already out there. I take my own personal experience. I take what I've learned from books, from websites, you know, other people's stories and mentoring and their information, and I kind of just ball it all up together, and that's what ends up being recorded. It's kind of like in the South with churches. There's already one on every corner, and I'm not sure another church is the answer. It should be about the quality of what all is out there, not the quantity. So basically, with that, I'm saying that I'm not trying to write a book at this point or a complete guide to BDSM. I'm just giving general information and resources so those of you that are interested can have a place to start and can hopefully have a smooth transition from the more vanilla to the more kinky lifestyle in a way that you will understand, enjoy, and that will be safe, sane, consensual, and informed. Now, getting into sub and or Dom and subspace. DominantGuide.com. Dom space. Is that a thing? This is a reference article that I looked up. And again, those are in the show notes if you want to check that out. So, what is it? It is a headspace that you reach from being euphoric. It's created by chemicals in the brain, dopamine, norepinephrine, basic endorphins, and hormones that puts you in a cathartic state that you've heard me speak of before. So, and this is the point that if you're a new listener, please go back, listen from the beginning, from episode 1, because each episode does build on itself, or builds from the previous episode. So make it through the first two, the introduction, and then move on into what is a dominant, what is a submissive, and so on and so forth. And they do get better as they go along. So what causes it? The chemical endorphin release caused by the excitement and the physiology and psychology of the scene. So the physiology is created by the excitement and the psychology. Mind over body. You're experiencing these things taking place. It's fun. It's exciting. It may be scary and exciting, arousing. You get into a primitive headspace, and these chemicals that normally only flow through your body during times of fight or flight or extreme fear start coursing through your veins and into your brain, just take over. And some compare it to or consider it like an out-of-body experience. For each person, it is quite different. For me, if I am being belted, if I'm self-restraining against a wall and being strapped or belted or flogged on my back, which for those of you that are new, that didn't go back and listen, that is the only way that I will experience pain. And I'm not a bottom or a submissive at all. Again, I self-restrain. I won't be shackled. So, what does it feel like? Being high. Completely cathartic. You may experience tunnel vision, time shifting. It may seem like you've only been in there for 15 minutes And when I say in there, I'm referring to a dungeon scene or something of that nature. But you may have been in the scene for 15, 20 minutes. And then when it's over, you realize it's been 4 hours or 5 hours. It's very, very common. In fact, for me, if I don't experience time shifting, then I haven't truly hit a subspace or a dom space. And like I said earlier, out of body experience, and it's extremely bonding between the two people in the scene. If it's people who know each other well, and it's not just a play partner thing, and even at that, if it's just a one-time play partner, I have felt a very strong bonding or imprinting, as they refer to it in the animal kingdom, with each other. It's a completely different bond, and I don't know any other way to experience that bond with anyone. I've had a lot of relationships, a lot of friendships, and I've never experienced that imprinting in any of those unless it was a BDSM type of relationship. So, and that it's very special. It's something that you will never forget. So if you're listening to this and you've never experienced that, I guess the first thought is going to be, wow, I'm missing out. That sounds freaking awesome. How do I get there? First things first, you cannot focus on it. The old expression, a watched pot never boils. If you go into a scene and that is all you're concentrating on is, I got to get to this subspace, or I've got to reach dom space, then you're not allowing yourself to let go. And if you don't do that, then you won't reach it, chances are. You may, but there's a really good chance that you won't. So with me, to ensure that this takes place, I don't think about it, and I have, one of the first things I have are rituals. When I am preparing myself mentally for a scene, I have certain things that I do. And it's down to clothing that I wear. There's certain clothes that I will wear, a certain way that I've got Viking hair. It's long on top, shaved around the sides. There's a certain way that I will do it, putting on my leather cuffs, straightening out my implements, my floggers, riding crops, the shackles, having everything set up in just a certain way helps to put me into that mindset and keeps me focused on the scene. And it's also the point where I am releasing anything from the outside world that may try to break through into the scene. And that is one of the most important things, if not the most important thing that you can do while performing a scene or participating in one, is going through that mental checklist and making sure that you're not bringing your bad day into that area. That's a sacred area, because if you do it, you're going to desecrate it, and you're going to abuse yourself or the other person, or allow yourself to be abused if you're a sub. Everybody that I know that is well experienced in BDSM, and even a lot of people that I know that are not really that experienced, have rituals before the scene, things during the scene that they just automatically will do, like a restraightening of implements, or some type of little trigger that doesn't take them out of it, because they've trained themselves to do this. But when they do it, it keeps their head into it and makes sure that they're not drifting away mentally and thinking about the argument that they had with their submissive or their dominant, or the road rage that they experienced, or the person that they work with that they just cannot seem to get along with. So that ritual is so incredibly important. The second thing that I do is intimacy and trust. And it's not so much the that I do it, it's that it's there. I have to develop some form of intimacy